Phillips is the future of women's gymnastics in the USA and possibly the world. She was the best performer at the American Cup competition of 1986. Today, she is teamed up with Brian Ginsberg, a gymnast from UCLA. He catapulted into the limelight at the American Cup by having the lead after 5 events. Although he finished second overall on the meet, he left the competition as one of the most respected athletes in the world. Today, he has his work cut out for him because the Soviet Union has 2 shining stars on hand. 16-year-old Irina Baraksanova placed 3rd at the American Cup, but she is always expected to finish 1st. As you can see, she's that talented. Today, she is paired with a very strong teammate, Alexei C Ponte, who is a college student at the Lenin Kuznetsky Institute. When he's not studying, he's winning gymnastics meets. 1986 has been a good year for the Soviet superstar. He won the American Cup. And these are just 2 of the 20 teams on hand for the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs. Gymnastics. From the Hampton Coliseum in Hampton, Virginia, it's the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs Championships. Today's telecast is brought to you by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. Inside the Hampton Coliseum, it's a flurry of international activity as our competition is about to begin. Hello everyone, I'm Leandra Riley, and this is a unique meet that we have in store for you. We have 20 pairs representing 19 different countries. All 20 pairs will compete in the first round. The men's and women's scores are combined, so both athletes must do a good job to advance to the second round. Only the top 6 pairs will advance to that second round, and from there, only the top 3 will compete in the third and final round. So as you can see, we only have 3 apparatus involved in each event. Therefore, our gymnasts for the women's side will be competing in 3 out of 4. On the men's side, it'll be 3 out of 6. Right now, let me bring in our expert color commentator. He has 2 Olympic gold medals, 1 Olympic silver medal, Peter Vidmar. Peter, you've competed in mixed pairs competition. It's hard to say it, but it's really fun and competition combined.
It's a lot of fun. It's kind of a new format, but it's catching on throughout the world. They're having mixed pairs competitions all over the world. I enjoy competing in them, and even though you feel the pressure, you have fun when you get to compete with a girl.
All right, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it. We have the Soviet Union against the USA. You and I have kind of predicted they're going to be 1 and 2. On the USA side, I guess it's really going to be a prove-it time for the USA, Ginsberg and Phillips.
Kristi's coming off the best meet of her life. She's the new star of USA Gymnastics after winning the American Cup. And Brian was the runner-up, but he made a little mistake on that last event. He could have won it also. Brian won't be doing that week event, though. He's going to do his best events today, so they're going to be probably the team to beat.
On the Soviet Union side, Tikhonki certainly is a seasoned veteran performer. Will he be carrying the load for Baraksanova?
Certainly not. Tikhonki is probably one of the best male gymnasts in the world. He's the American Cup champion, but Baraksanova is also one of the best female gymnasts in the world. She didn't have the performance that she wanted to have at the American Cup, and she's going to try to do it here.
Since it is an unusual format, we have pinned ourselves down to just the USA and USSR. Do you have another country who you think might sneak in there?
I think the other Americans are going to be tough, but you never know. They're all going to be great meets. It's going to go down to the last competitor.
All right, we'll find out in just a few moments who is going to be the best internationally mixed pairs. Right now, we're going to take a time out, but when we come back, the competition will begin. Welcome back to Hampton Coliseum, where our competition is about to begin. I'm Leandra Riley along with Peter Vidmar, and to refresh your memories, the men and women's scores are combined. It is a combined total that will advance to the next round. This is a representative from France. Her name is Kristi Robear, and she's vaulting.
Crystal's going to do a handspring front flip. It's not a very difficult vault now compared to some of the other ones that the girls are performing, but she did it quite well, and she had a very good landing.
Women's vaulting competition has 2 vaults. As we take another look at her first vault.
Let's see. Now you'll see her legs come apart on the post flight as she tucks her knees in. And it's not quite as attractive, and yet it's really not a deduction in women's gymnastics.
Of course, the judges don't have this overhead view that we have,
That's
so
right.
The legs being apart don't look as bad.
That's right. And here's another view.
Does that really help in the rotation when they cowpoke it, as they call it?
Well, it does. It helps to really bring in that center of gravity, and you can twist much faster. Now she's going to do one more vault.
And it'll be the better of the two vaults that will count as her score. So her second vault, if it's the higher one, that'll be the score that is used. And of course that will be added to her teammate's score, and the combined total of those two will determine who advances. Kristi Robear is coached by Maurice Pierre Saint-Genis. I love the French names.
And that one was done a little bit better, a little bit higher, but the landing wasn't quite as good, so it probably will be around the same score.
Marie-Pierre Saint-Genis giving her gymnast some advice.
Okay. You'll see her legs a little bit more straddled. It looked like it was a little bit higher, but the landing wasn't quite as good. She took a much bigger hop this time.
And now her teammate and countryman, Laurent Barbieri. He is 25 years old, 5'7", 140 pounds. He will be competing on floor exercise. Crystal chose to vault, Laurent chose floor exercise.
It was a very strong mount. It was a full twisting double back flip. I've seen him do that with one more twist. I've seen him do a double twisting double back. He's very powerful in floor exercise. There's a double pike, a minor hop on the landing. Barbieri's very strong in floor exercise. It's one of his best events. There's a planche, a nice strength move right up to a handstand. There's a round of flip-flop full punch front. That's one of the new things we're seeing a lot in men's floor exercise. Back flip immediately into a front flip. Barbieri had a great meet at the American Cup. I was talking to him earlier. He said it was one of the best meets he's had in his life. So he's really pleased with the way his gymnastics is going right now.
He's very popular in America, too. The crowd's always behind him.
Yes, very much. Now he's going to set up for his dismount. Probably a double back flip. That's a big step forward. He'll probably lose a tenth or two from that, but it was a very strong routine.
Laurent Barbieri on floor exercise.
Going back to his mount, he's a very quick and explosive tumbler. And he has very good form. You'll see it's a full twisting backflip in the first flip and just a backflip in the second. Now I see an overhead view of his dismount. Just a double backflip. You'll see that he doesn't quite finish his rotation enough.
What does that mean? That he needed more power, or he didn't tuck tight enough?
Either he needed to pull his legs in a little bit more, not open as soon, or he just needed more power. It's one or the other, but either way, it would give him a much better landing.
It's a little bit under-rotated for Laurent Barbieri. While we're waiting for his score, I'll tell you about Kristi Robear. She vaulted twice. Her first vault received a 9.3. Her second received a 9.2. So only the first score will count, 9.3. That will be added to Laurent Barbieri's score. Combined total, well, if it's good enough, it'll put him into the second round. Remember, there are 20 teams competing. Only 6 will advance to the second round. Laurent Barbieri is studying business and languages. He's one of the few international gymnasts who can speak English here. Was very charming in interviews. The combined total for this tandem has now been handed to me, 18.6, and according to my math, that means both gymnasts receive a 9.3 for their effort. So with an 18.6, we are going to take a commercial timeout. When we return, we will have our next pairs. Please stay with us.
We are still holding for the men's vaulting score and the women's vault and the men's floor exercise score.
Welcome back to the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs Competition. We have moved now to the uneven parallel bars. We are still in our first round, and this is Boriana Stoyanova of Bulgaria. She's 17 years old. She lives in Sofia, Bulgaria. And she wants very badly to compete in the '88 Olympic Games.
Stoyanova has been one of the strongest gymnasts in the international scene for a few years now, and she's really well respected in the sport.
She finished second in the American Cup competition, and she chose her events, her apparatus, the uneven, the parallel bars to be first, then balance beam, and then floor exercise. She decided to let go of vaulting, and she said she chose her order based on the Olympic order of competition. So she really didn't have much of a strategy as to which one she wanted to go first. Do you believe Peter, having competed in the mixed pairs, that you should put your best and highest scoring event first to guarantee you passage into the second round.
Yeah, that's usually the smartest thing to do, is to do the event that you're most secure with and that you feel you can get the highest score. That helps to push you forward. But maybe Stoyanova just felt that every event's good for her, and it really doesn't matter which event she does. And that's the kind of attitude that you can have sometimes if you really feel prepared.
That's confidence.
She was people don't realize that she really gave Kristi Phillips a run for her money in the American Cup.
She may give her a run for her money here.
I think there were many times during the competition that she was actually leading. And she goes up to the high bar. Most of the tricks now the girls are doing is on the high bar. There's a free hip circle to a handstand, a giant, full pirouette. Set up for a dismount.
Sounded like she hit the sidewire.
It sure did. And a toe on, front with a half dismount. Perfect landing. We'll see this dismount again. There's a free hip to a handstand. Toe on, front with a half twist, and watch this landing. Just perfect. No movement at all.
Pretty routine, but Boriana Stoyanova, her coach Margaret Krastev, is very happy. Now we are moving over to the rings where her teammate Zhan Kolev is about to compete. He lives in Varna. He is 20 years of age, and he elected to go with the rings, the vaulting, and the high bar should he last that long, if this team can advance to the second round.
Rings is a very popular event for a lot of these, for the male gymnasts to go on, because it's a very secure event. Once you put your hands on the rings, you don't have to let go until you do a dismount. And it's a fun event to compete on. I'm sure it's also a very good event for Zhan. Now, he's a young gymnast, and I haven't seen much of him, but I'm sure we'll see a lot of him in the future. So back up rise right to a handstand. Giant to a handstand. There's an inverted cross.
The hardest part about the rings, to me, it would seem, is the fact that the apparatus moves.
Yes, and you have to keep them as still as possible. When you're doing a multiple flipping twist like you just did, it can be very difficult. Look how strong he is, though. That was an Olympic cross into an iron cross. Kip, now he's going to get ready for his dismount. It's a hollow back press to a handstand. And double layout dismount. Nicely done.
Zhan Kolev competing on the rings. In case you're just joining us, the reason we are ping-ponging through the events, it's because the apparatus is chosen by the gymnast, and he elected to compete first on the still rings.
Now Harry is getting ready for his dismount. He presses up to a handstand, and he will bail from the handstand and go right into his dismount. A lot of gymnasts like to do a giant dislocate first, but he just goes for it. Double layout, and he lands it perfectly.
His teammate, Boriana Stoyanova, received a 9.55 for her routine on the uneven parallel bars as they congratulate each other. He would like to score at least that, if not better, for his ring routine. 20 pairs are competing in this first round. 6 will survive for the second round. All told, each gymnast will compete only on 3 apparatus. So that's why you choose your strongest 3, and as you suggested, your best one first. So we are waiting for Zhan Kolev's score. You'll recall that Christelle Robear and Laurent Barbieri received an 18.6 combined total. Their combined total, as you can see, is now 19.0. And we will be back with more international competition, more men, more women. But first, this. We are back, and you are looking at Zhan Ying Xue. She is vaulting for China. Her teammate Wang Chongsheng is standing by at the Pommel Horse. As we said earlier, in women's vaulting, they are allowed to execute 2 vaults. The better of the 2 scores is the one that counts.
Zhan Ying Xue is a very powerful gymnast. You can see the leg strength. She's got very muscular legs. And in the past, the Chinese women have been powerful on the balance beam and on the uneven bars, but their weaker events have been floor exercise and vault. And now the new wave of the Chinese women is to be very strong on those events also. So we should see some good vaults from her.
Zhan Ying Xue is in her second year on the Chinese national team. She's 16 years of age, and she studies at the Hunan Sports School. She is coached by Yujing Xiang.
And smile because the audience has a tendency to be on television. Score for Marcus Leyland, Switzerland was 9.4. For Nicole Stroila was 8.
We have seen gymnasts from France, gymnasts from Bulgaria. Now we are seeing gymnasts from China. Other countries that are represented include Japan, Italy, Switzerland, Venezuela, Australia, Mexico, Germany, and of course the Soviet Union. And we have an international panel of judges, so if it seems a little bit slow, it's because there's a communications problem too.
There's a laid out Tsukahara with a full twist. Very powerful. She took a big step. That'll be a deduction, but she gets one more chance. Let's see if she can do it perfectly. She had a very good set. She waited a while before she twisted. Really got that height and rotation first.
This young lady is 4'7".
Do you wish the men could do too, so they can correct some of their errors?
Yeah, I wish that it'd be nice if the men could do too. They would add more variety to the event also. Now you'll see she gets a lot of lift, and when she twists, you'll see her pike her body in. She starts to twist, and she pikes her body in a little bit too soon, so she has to take that step back.
What kind of corrections, if you were her coach, would you tell her before she does her second vault?
I thought the vault was done quite well. I think if she just opens up a little bit sooner, doesn't pike in as much, she should be able to land it fine.
9.6, not a bad score for a first vault.
No, that's a good score, and it's a very difficult vault. It's the same vault that Mary Lou Retton used when she won the Olympic Games. And that was done much better. A tiny little hop. I think she'll be pleased with that.
You'll recall that Christophe Robear received a 9.3 for her vault. So Zhan Ying Xue has already had better luck with her first vault, receiving the 9.6.
Yes, this is much better. Her form is very good. She gets a lot of lift, a nice crisp twist, and just a tiny little hop. Very, very good.
Wang Chongsheng is her teammate. He's competing on Pommel Horse. Peter Vidmar, Olympic gold medalist on Pommel Horse, and that to me is one of the 7 wonders of the world. Why would you put Pommel Horse first?
Well, Pommel Horse, it's considered one of the most difficult events, but if you know how to do it well, then you might as well do it first, and that's how Wang Chongsheng is, and Tim Daggett's very strong in this event too. He won the bronze medal in the Olympics. So they're both doing this event first, and he's performing really well. Very extended circles, traveling up and backwards across the horse. Beautiful flare to handstand, pirouette dismount. That should score very well.
Zhan Ying Xue, his teammate, received a 9.7 for her second vault. As you mentioned, it's a little bit better than the first, and that's a great start as we take another look.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're going to be right up there. Now here's a flare right up to a handstand, puts his hand in the middle, and does a little pirouette turn off for the dismount. It's very nice. This will be a nice shot from overhead. You see him going into the flare again. He goes right up to a handstand.
Shows the flexibility.
Oh yes, it's incredible flexibility. He's a tall gymnast too. Pirouetting out to his dismount. He should score very well.
He's 19 years of age. He studies at the Beijing Institute for Physical Education. He began gymnastics at the age of 13. Wang Chongsheng.
It's amazing how these Chinese gymnasts just come, new faces all the time, and they're all great gymnasts. They have so many gymnasts to choose from.
It seems to me the Oriental body type lends itself very well to gymnastics. And he received, as we are being told right now, a 9.7, so their combined total is 19.4. 19.4 for the team from China, and we will be back with competitors from the USA as well as other countries. But first, we're going to take a timeout. Welcome back to the International Mixed Pairs competition. This is Tracy Kalor. She is getting ready to vault. She and Tim Daggett are the team for the USA that's getting ready to compete. The team from China that you just saw before the commercial, they are in first place with their total of 19.4, and that puts the pressure on Tracy Kalor. She's 4'10". She's in 9th grade, 16 years of age. She started gymnastics at age 7, Tracy Kalor.
Tracy's a very powerful vaulter.
And a very popular one.
And that was a Sukahara with a full twist. She didn't quite have that explosive power that she needed, and she just put her hands down. That's going to be a deduction, and she's going to get one more chance. Let's take a look at this a little bit closer and find out why she didn't quite get the rotation she needed. She had some good twists. She may have spun just a little bit too soon and didn't quite initiate that lift and that rotation before the twist. And she had to pike down, and she put her hands down.
What about the legs apart? Of course, we have the luxury of the overhead angle. Did that slow her down at all?
Sure, it could have. Usually you tend to twist a little bit more crisply if you have your legs together. And we'll just see how she does in this next vault.
We're now ready for the second vault for Tracy Kalor.
She received a 9.05 for that first vault. She wants to improve on that.
Here she goes. And she did tuck Sukahara and stuck it cold. Well, she decided not to do the layout, and she did a tuck instead.
So that will get a better score. Her teammate is Tim Daggett. He was expected to win the American Cup. Unfortunately, he had to pull out. We spoke to him earlier about his injury to his ankle.
Well, at the American Cup last week, I kind of had an injury to my right leg, and it hurt a little bit and caused me to withdraw from the competition. But I think I'll be all right here. It's only 3 events, and I'm going to take it a little easy. I'll do the 3 events that are best for me, and hopefully I won't have a problem.
And here is Tim Daggett, bronze medalist, as you mentioned, Peter, on the Pommel Horse. And certainly he shows events that don't really need much ankle work.
Tim has scored a 10 on this event many, many times, and he's working beautifully. He does a lot of work behind the back and on one pommel. There's a scissor with a half turn behind the back. And he's going to get ready for his dismount. He does beautiful flare work. Hopping down to the end, hopping back up to the middle, and a flare right to a handstand. That was a beautiful routine.
Nice. Nice landing, too. And he held up his end of the bargain, and so did Tracy Kalor. She received a 9.7 for her second vault, certainly a big improvement over the first, and Daggett will get a good score for that routine.
Yeah, I think they're both going to be pleased with this. They're going to move right into the next round, I think. We'll have to wait and see, though. Beautiful flare work, right up to a handstand for his dismount.
Nice distance, too, from the horse.
And now we see another angle. He hops down to the end of the horse, does a flare, and here he goes right up again to a handstand. Tim does flares so easily. He could just do his whole routine in flares if he needed.
Expression on his face makes a statement about that routine, too.
Absolutely.
He was happy. Now remember, the team from China, both the gymnasts received 9.7, so their combined total is 19.4. Tracy Kalor has already received a 9.7, so if Tim Daggett can do better than 9.7, they'll move into first place as you look at Tracy Kalor. She moves over to her teammate, Tim Daggett, and they're waiting for their numbers. And he received a 9.75, so the USA is in first place by 0.05 of a point with a 19.45 to China's 19.4. We will be back with more competition. We still have yet to see another USA team, and any gymnasts from the Soviet Union, don't go away. Welcome back to the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs. Our standings, partially through round 1, show the USA is on top, the team of Tracy Kalor and Tim Daggett, followed by China, and then there's a tie in third place between Japan and Italy with 19.1. Right now, let's go to the Soviet Union, though. They are getting ready to compete. Irina Baraksanova is getting ready to vault, her first vault, while Alexei C Ponte is standing by in the rings. Remember, Irina gets to do 2 vaults. This is her first one.
Irina is in the coveted top 6 of the Soviet team, so she's a phenomenal gymnast, and she did not quite have the meet that she wanted to have at the American Cup, so you can bet she's really going to be giving it her all right now.
She's 16 years old, 4 feet 7, 75 pounds.
Round off onto the horse, lay out Sukahara off. Boy, what a beautiful vault. That should score very well.
Tracy Kalor received a 9.7 for her vault. She wants to do better than that.
This is one of those newer vaults with a round off onto the board and then a back handspring onto the horse with a layout Tsukahara off. It's very, very new. It was developed by the Soviets and she did it quite well.
It was developed by her teammate, oddly enough.
That's right.
And disallowed as being too difficult, too dangerous. But the women allow it.
And there it is, round off onto the horse, layout Tsukahara off. Perfect form, beautiful landing. It's going to be hard to improve on that.
It's nice to have a strong first vault under your belt.
Sure
and it
is.
could be a little riskier on the second. She received a 9.7 for that vault.
Motion replay, and she will be ready to go with her next vault now. Once again, Irina Baraksanova.
I first saw this vault performed by Natalya Yurchenko of the Soviet Union in the World Cup in 1982, and it's really caught on. A lot of other gymnasts want to do this vault. It's very popular, very difficult though.
What makes it difficult? Trying to gauge where you land on the
gauging where you
board?
land on the board and the horse. Oh, then she does it with a full twist now. Landed perfectly too. Boy, that was beautiful.
It happens so fast between the board and the horse.
And here she is, doing it with a full twist. She tucks her knees in, does a full twist, and lands perfectly. That should score higher.
Her partner on still rings.
9.7 was her score for the first. We'll wait for her second score. And while we're waiting, let's take a look at Alexei C Ponte. He is 25 years old. He is in college studying physical education.
Let's welcome.
And we have the score for Barasanova. She received a 9.8. So this team could take the lead with that 9.8 because Tikhonki is very strong on the rings.
I talked to him earlier, and he said that he enjoys parallel bars the most. It's the most fun to work out on. But the rings is always a very strong event. He pulls right to a cross and pulls out. He's extremely powerful. There's a forward roll, hollow back press to a handstand. Giant to a handstand. It's very, very steady. And a whip it to another cross. Look at how he presents himself. Very beautiful, very artistic gymnast. And he's going to set up for his dismount. Giant to a handstand. And a very high pike calf and F out. It's a beautiful landing. That's going to score well. That could put him right in the lead. And here's a neat angle for his dismount. There's a giant to his handstand. And now he's really got to get a lot of lift. He pulls way above the rings for that pike calf and F out.
He needs a 9.65 to help his team tie for the lead. A 9.7 would give the Soviet Union the lead over Daggett and Kalor.
I'm pretty sure he's going to get it too.
His teammate, Irina Baraksanova, received a 9.8 for her second vault.
Now,
Took some of the pressure off of him, but I don't think he would have felt it anyway.
I think Alexei's pretty confident about their chances, though. He chose his best event, the horizontal bar, for the very end. I think he wants to finish on a great note.
They are talking now with their translator. Getting some advice as to how this competition works. This is such a unique format that the judges are somewhat baffled by it because this is never done after this or before this. It's the only meet of the year that is conducted in this manner, in which you only do 3 apparatus. The men's and women's scores combined. So it's an unusual situation. The score for Alexei Tikhonki made the team total 19.5, meaning he got a 9.7. So the Soviet Union has the lead, the USA is second, and we'll be back, but first this. The Soviet Union is in first, the USA is in second, but right now the gymnasts from Hungary want to change all that. Andrea Ladanye is about to compete on the uneven parallel bars. Once again, the gymnasts are allowed to choose which apparatus they want to compete on. She chose the uneven parallel bars. Her teammate has chosen the Pommel Horse. We'll get to him in a moment.
Andrea is another new face in women's gymnastics. It's a free hip half turn to a handstand, another turn. Swings up to the handstand on the low bar. Kips through. Free hip circle. Giant to a handstand. Giant.
Go on.
And a comb each dismount. Done very, very well.
Andrea Ladagny.
I don't know how well that's going to score because in difficulty it's not as high as some of the other routines we've seen today, but it was very, very clean. And here she puts 1 foot on the bar. This is a comb each dismount, front with a half. And she takes just a little hop.
Georgi Gutsogi is on the Pommel Horse. Another one who's chosen the Pommel Horse as his first apparatus.
And he should, because he's one of the best pommel horse workers in the world. He has a lot of original skills, a lot of Durhams. There's his scissor sequence, and a flare, travel down flare, loop around up to a handstand. He's always been a medal winner in lots of major competitions on Pommel Horse. He's very, very strong. Now here's his flare, travel down. Now he's going to set up for his dismount. There's a loop around, and he'll do a flare right up to a handstand. Now his flares aren't quite as extended as the flares that you might see in the Chinese gymnasts or that you might see in Alexei C Ponte's on Pommel Horse, but he still does it quite well.
Andrea Ladagny received a 9-4 on the uneven parallel bars. A perfect 10 for Gutsogi, her teammate, would give them 19-4, and that's good enough to tie for third at this point in the competition. And I don't think he's going to get a perfect 10 on that routine.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get a 10. I talked to him a little earlier. I think he has a little bit of a cold. He pointed to his nose and was sniffling a little bit, so he looked a little tired at the end of the routine also.
So they're just hopeful they can squeak by. They'll have to be in the 19s, though, to make it to the finals. Only 6 will compete, in the second round. And that's what they're shooting for, the second round. If Gutsogi should advance, he would like to compete next on the rings. Ladagny would like to compete next on the balance beam. But it's nip and tuck right now whether or not these two will make it to that second apparatus. Our leaders, the Soviet Union with 19.5, second place the USA with 19.45, and then China's in third with a 19.4. So our top 3 spots are very, very close together. After that, a 19.1, there's a tie for 4th place between Japan and Italy. Right now, 19.0 is what's the cutoff for 6th place. 9.35 is the score for Gutsogi, so he receives an 18.75 total. They will not make it to the next round. Very close, but not quite good enough. They had to be 19 or better to make it to that next round. When we come back, we will have more competition. We still have another team from the USA, as well as gymnasts from Germany and Romania. Don't go away. We are back with international mixed pairs competition. I'm Leandra Riley along with Peter Vidmar. The German Democratic Republic is getting ready to compete. The young lady representing the German Democratic Republic is Simone Harperat. She's going to compete on the uneven parallel bars. Her teammate Ulf Hoffman will compete on floor exercise. Simone is 15 years old and she attends Oberschule in Rostock.
Bars has always been a very strong event for the East Germans. And I haven't seen Simone very much at all. And she goes right to a handstand. Beautiful reverse hack. She's very powerful.
So she's only 15. That might explain why you haven't seen much of her.
That's
she's
true.
Young.
Stoop through. Kip to a handstand. Giant. And a layout full twist dismount.
Nice routine by Simone Harperat. Whether or not it's good enough to get them into the finals waits to be seen.
Now here's her giant getting up ready for her dismount. And she does a layout with a full twist. It's not quite as difficult as some of the other ones I've seen. Girls are doing double backs. They're doing layouts with double twists.
And began gymnastics in 1971.
Ulf Hoffman is 24 years old. He attends Deutsche Hochschule for Kopperstil, and he's studying sports, so I assume he wants to coach or teach.
Ulf mounted with a very difficult pass. It's a 1.5 twisting, 1 3/4 dive roll. It's very, very risky. Now a second pass. Ground off back handspring, whip over, back handspring, full punch front. Very, very nice. He's a very powerful gymnast. And here's his flares, a spindled flare, rotating the other way as he does it. And now the required press to a handstand. It's a very unusual and weak pass right there. It was a tucked dive roll. I guess he's resting up for his dismount. Kind of an awkward scale there. He has a little bobble. That's going to cost him.
Scale is mandatory. He must show him.
Yeah, balance trick, yes. And here's his dismount, and it's a double back flip, a little hop. Looked a little bit tired at the end of that routine. Now we'll take a look at his mount. It's a 1.5 twisting, 1 3/4 dive roll. It's a lot of flips and a lot of twists.
It must be very difficult to stay oriented in a move like this.
It is. I used to compete this trick, and it can be. I had a friend of mine that's been hurt on this trick too. It's very risky because he rolls out of it, so it's very close to his head, but he does it so well that he really doesn't have to worry about it. I thought he was a little bit tired and going into the dismount. He doesn't get quite the same lift, and he takes a little bit of a hop forward. He lands it and takes a little stumble forward. Looked a little bit tired at the end of that routine.
Better round off, better running would have improved that dismount then, possibly?
I think so. I think it's the end of a long trip. I think they've been away from home for a while. They're a little bit tired after the American Cup, and I think he wanted to just make it through the routine, and he did it quite well.
The total for this group is 19.15, and right now that is good enough for 6th place. So Simone Harperath and Ulf Hoffmann have made it into the finals based on that total so far, but we've yet to see the gymnasts from Romania, and we still have another pair from the USA who are expected to also make it into the finals. We are moving now back to the uneven parallel bars where Mariana Tudor of Romania is about to compete. She is 16 years of age and began the sport at age 11.
And she's a little gymnast, but look at how she swings in the uneven bars.
Wow.
It's a front flip down on the low bar, kips up right to a handstand. Straddle up, kip, and another Delchev trick. Here she goes. A kip, straddle up. Now she's going to set up for this. This is a long routine. Toe on, front flip, just a little bit of a weak dismount, and it's difficult to land one like that also. She took a big step on it.
But she had a lot of difficulty in the middle.
A lot of difficulty in the middle. I was surprised at the dismount, though. It really was not that hard of a dismount. She does just a toe-on tucked front flip, and she didn't even land it that well.
Do you think maybe that was an alternate dismount?
It could have been. She could have had a more difficult dismount planned. She may have been tired. She may have slipped a little bit and just decided to do that one.
Valentin Pintia is competing as her teammate, also from Romania. He is coached by Vasil Casario.
Pintia is very powerful on the floor, gets a lot of lift. There's a very high full twisting double back flip. A little hop in the landing is going to cost him a little bit, but he gets way up there. Now his second pass is a Arabian double front. He went out of bounds. That's going to cost him some more. It's very, very high. This routine isn't quite as clean as it could be. He's got plenty of difficulty, though. He hasn't really stopped tumbling yet. Now he can do some work on the floor. I'm sure he's huffing and puffing a little bit right now. This is required press to a handstand. Done a little bit too quickly. He didn't really hold the handstand. Does a scale. Gets a little rested up for that dismount. And a round off back handspring, double back flip. Little hop, but it was still very, very high. Now on his second pass on an Arabian double front, he went out of bounds, and that is a deduction.
It isn't as major as people like to make out. It's only a tenth or two depending on the element that you're performing at the time.
That's right.
It's
Here's
not like a fall.
Roll. Yeah, it is. It's a minor deduction compared to falling off the apparatus.
But still, it's an obvious deduction when you don't like to give up.
Now here's his dismount. It's a round off back handspring, double back flip, probably the most common dismount in floor exercise. Plenty of lift, and just takes a little hop.
Looks like he had it too, I think. I think maybe if this was the Olympic Games and he was going for a gold medal, he might have forced a stick on that one.
He's very, very powerful.
And they received a 9.7 for the uneven parallel bars, a 9.3 for the floor exercise for a perfect score of 19.00, a perfectly even score, I should say. And that will not be good enough to get into the second round. So say so long to the team from Romania. When we come back, the USA has another pair, and they're good. These are our standings at the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs as we get ready for our final few gymnasts in round one. So you can see the Soviet Union is on top, followed by the USA. Earlier we spoke with Bela Karolyi. He is coaching Kristi Phillips. We asked him about her attitude, her talent, her specialness, but most importantly, how she deals with all of the pressure. He told us this earlier.
That basically is up to the kids' mental and physical abilities, a combination from these two very important parts of their personality. Now, how she is. She's a balanced type of little girl. Everything she's processing, she's going to her mental digestion, everything, the indications. She's positive, receiving with great enthusiasm everything what is told to her, indication, instructions, directions, what we are showing. She's trying to do her best.
Bela Karolyi coaching Kristi Phillips.
She does a round off on, Suk fall off with one little step. She's really come into her own on vaulting. It's been a week event for her.
And pressing down, no step whatsoever, okay? Now you go normal, slow down, and with more explosiveness. More punch it harder, and if you press your toes down. No move. Let's go.
As you can tell, we have put a microphone on Bela Karolyi to give advice to Kristi Phillips.
Bella is a great motivator. You watch, she's going to do a better vault in that second one. And here she does that round off on, a Sukahara with a full twist off. And she takes that step.
Now during the second vault, we will be eavesdropping on Bela Karolyi should he say something. She received a 9.7 for the first vault. Her teammate is Brian Ginsberg. He will be competing on the rings after this vault. Bela Karolyi commentating.
All right. That was pretty good. Now let's now get up.
I don't understand what he said, but it sure was enthusiastic. All right, earlier we spoke with Brian Ginsberg. We asked him how he felt about the American Cup. Remember, going into the last event, he was first, but then Alexei C Ponte was close behind and eventually overtook him for the lead. He told us this earlier today.
I knew before going into high bar that I was in the lead, and I knew I needed to hit a good set because one of the Soviets' best events is high bar. And I was a little nervous, and going towards the end of my set, I was very tired. So on my dismount, I put my hands down, and I knew that all the Soviet needed to do was hit his set, and I knew he was capable of it. And after his routine, he stuck his triple dismount, for the second day in a row, and I knew that it was an incredible routine, and he deserved the score he got.
Brian Ginsberg needs now to stay alive in this competition. He needs a 9.35 to squeak into this competition. That'll tie him for fifth place, and that'll be good enough to get him into the finals. His teammate received a 9.75. Kristi Phillips did for her second vault. So 9.35 is the minimum Brian Ginsberg can receive.
Brian's certainly capable of a 9.35. He goes right to an iron cross, pulls right out. He's so powerful. He's so lightweight. There's a beautiful flange. And he presses up to a handstand. He's just about fulfilled all of his strength requirements right now.
5'2", 105 pounds. He is.
He's
light.
Very light. Giant to a handstand. Backup rise to a handstand. Nice and steady. He's really improved over the last year. Giant dislocate and a straddled. That's a straddle side flip with a 3/4 twisting side flip out. It's an incredible dismount. It's very, very new. Only been done for a few months now.
Difficult to say, more difficult to execute.
Yeah. And here it is. Setting up for that dismount. It's like a pike straddle double side flip with a 3/4 twist out, and he lands with a little bit of a hop and a step. But I still think that'll be good enough to get them into the next round.
Do the judges take that in consideration, the difficulty of the dismount when you take that step, or is that step just a penalty across the board?
Well, no, I really think they do. They have to take into consideration the difficulty of the dismount. In the past, sometimes they haven't, and you found that the gymnasts started watering down their dismounts. I know I did in the Olympics because I didn't get the credit that I wanted to get for doing a difficult skill. But now the judges realize they've got to give that credit for doing a difficult dismount, and I'm sure he'll get a good score.
He is paired with Kristi Phillips. She received a 9.75 for her second vault, so that is the score that will be added to his ring score. Once they flash it, we'll let you know. Their total is 19.45, meaning he received a 9.7, and a 19.45 ties them for second, ironically, with fellow Americans Tim Daggett and Tracy Kalor. So it's the Soviet Union first, the USA tied for second. We have two pairs advancing to round 2.